In this video, I'm gonna show you how I mix my live stream here at River Run Christian Church in Melbourne, Florida, using just one mixer and just one person mixing to get a great sounding mix, and you can do it too with your soundboard.
Just a shadow through the night, trace my steps through all my failures, and walk me out the other side.
What you need are a mix of knowledge and tools that will help you go from a very dry, gross sounding online mix to something that will help people know what you're gonna sound like when they walk through the door for the first time. Let's be honest, for most of us, we're not reaching thousands and thousands of people with our live stream, but what we wanna do is at least put a good foot forward so that if someone is checking us out online, they're not surprised by how bad it is and how different it is from what they experience in the room. We've talked about this a lot at Churchfront. In fact, it is the #1 question I get asked to help with our group coaching calls through our premium membership on Churchfront. And I'm gonna show you how you don't need a separate DAW. You can get a great online mix with just one console and one person who's mixing your front of house mix, and everything else just kind of works without you having to pay attention to it every week. The first step, and this is very important, if you haven't done this, figure this out first. You can always pause this video, come back to it, come back at a later time, but the #1 thing you have to do is get your room right. You need to minimize your stage volume, get it as low as you possibly can. That is priority #1. You need to make it so that any sound in your room is mostly coming out of your main PA speakers. #2, you have to control the reverberations in your room. If you have a very reverberous room, a square room with drywall walls that the frequencies are just bouncing back and forth and back and forth, it's going to be very hard to get a good mix in that room. And if you can't get a good mix in that room, you can't get a good mix online. Once you've gotten your room treated and you've gotten your PA tuned properly and everything sounds good in your room, the third thing you're going to need is you're going to need to get some room mics. In this room, I have 4 room mics. I've got 2 stereo pairs. I have one pair over my stage pointing out at the congregation behind my speakers so they're not picking up the PA, and I have one set above my head that's intentionally picking up the PA. I then actually have all of that time aligned within my mixer. Now, you don't have to time align it. It's something I like to do. I know some very great mixing engineers who don't time align their audience mics on purpose because they want a little bit of that smear. I personally like to time align my audience mics with my mix, but that's something for another video. It's a little bit more advanced. For this video, I want to keep it simple and show you, once you've got your PA right and your room sounding decent and you've got some audience mics in the room, how can you use one mixer to get a great mix both in your room and online. So the first thing you're going to need to do is actually record a virtual sound check. What I did last night at my practice is I recorded my band channel for channel out of my mixer. I use the Waves LV1 mixing system here at my church. I recorded channel for channel out of that into a DAW. I use Logic in this case, and then I can very quickly on this mixer just flip the inputs from A to B, and I can play that back and I can test that audio. So what I'm going to do today is first I'm going to build my mix in the room, and I'm going to show you how I do that really quickly so you can get a good mix in your room. Again, a good online mix starts with a good mix in your room. So I have the recording that I recorded last night with my band here at River Run Christian Church, and we are going to walk through this. I'm going to show you how I build a mix after we handle those first few things. Make sure your room's right, your PA's right, you got room mics, but I'm going to mix this from scratch. We're going to start, you're going to hear on this recording just the left-right mainstream coming from my speakers. It's going to go directly to this recording, and that's all you're going to hear. So a lot of you guys are running your online mix this way. This is how I would mix just my in-house mix. It's not going to sound as good for the recording as my online mix will, but you're going to get a sense of what it sounds like here in my room using this. So when I'm building a mix, what I like to do is start from 0. So I don't want any audio coming through. I turned all my effects off. I turned all my channels off. We're going to start with the foundation. We're going to start with the drums. So I'm going to start pushing up the kick and the snare first, get the drums sounding really good on this recording, and then I'm going to go from there and start adding the other instruments. So I do actually have electronic drums in this room. If you have a small room and you need to keep your stage volume to a minimum, I do recommend electronic drums. We've got a Roland TD30 or something like that here. I know that there are some other great options out there. We sell a lot of F-Note kits from Churchfront. Those are great drums as well, but it's really just important to control the volume. So these are all sampled channels. I'm not going to in this video show you how I EQ all of these channels or compress all of these channels, just because that's for another video. This is for the volunteer who just wants to know how to just build a mix once everything's processed correctly, and then come in and actually mix your live stream using that same mix. So here we go. Here's kick, snare. You'll notice there is a little bit of verb on that snare. I know I said the effects were off, but just so you know, I actually run effects straight on my snare drum because I have the LV1 system. You've got a little bit of reverb here. There is a way to do that with the LV1. It's one of the reasons I love this mixing solution. So that's why there's some effects on the snare already. All right, once I get the drums sounding how I like them, that's not perfect, but for the purposes of this mix, I want to get through it pretty quickly. I add the bass to it to really fill out that low end. Now, bass is a little, got a little high end to it. I don't know if I love it by itself, but in the mix it sounds good. So again, I'm not going to show you all the processing on that, but now, once I have those, I'm going to mix in the lead vocal. So you're going to see me push up the lead vocal, see where that sits in the mix. This is a song I sang last night, so this is me singing here. Then once I have the lead vocal and the foundation of my mix, the bass and drums, I'm going to start pushing other things into it to fill out the space. I don't want anything else other than those instruments to stand out, except when maybe there's a lead guitar part, you want maybe the lead guitar to do that. In this case, all we have is electric or acoustic guitar and keys. We don't have electric that was playing last night, so it's all going to be tracks. But for the most part, I want everything else to sit in a pocket, and I want the things to shine to be the lead vocal, the drums, and then the bass to fill out that low end.
And oh, how far beneath your glory does your kindness extend the path from where your feet rest on the sunrise to where you sweep the singer in the highlands and the heartache all the same.
Now I've got one vocalist that's a lot lower. She's singing very quiet, and that's why I'm mixing them that way, if you're wondering. But I'm trying to balance those background vocalists so that they're about at the same level.
Mountains wherever I stand, and if ever I walk through the valley of death, I sing through the shadows my song of a.
All right, let's add in the tracks.
I walk through wherever I am. Your name can move mountains wherever I stand. And if ever I walk through the valley of death, I sing through the shadows.
If you're wondering what I've got as far as tracks are concerned, I basically am sending all of my tracks to that one tracks channel that you see there, but the extra tracks is actually the vocals, the choir background vocals. I like to separate those out because that's one of those things that's really awkward if it's mixed too loud, but if it's mixed just right, it can actually help your congregation sing louder because they kind of hear that and they hear it as another congregation member singing loudly.
Oh, valleys, come the passes we call great, the mighty river.
Now, to be honest, that doesn't sound bad, but there's zero effects on that. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make with their online mix is not having enough effects that really helps just kind of glue it all together in that online space when you're listening on an iPhone or with headphones. Like, it's very tough to get mixes to sound good without effects on them in all of those different environments. So let's push some effects.
Where you sweep the singer that mountain, that valley.
Now you'll notice I'm actually pushing more of the background vocal verb than my lead vocal verb. That's because reverb kind of tends to make things feel further back in the mix, even though it does glue things together. So it's actually great to have more reverb on your background vocals. If you have a console that has multiple effect sends that you can actually have multiple vocal effects, I like splitting up my vocal verbs so that I can push more verb to my background vocals.
You're the summit where my feet are. So I will praise you in the valleys all the same. No less kind within the shadow. I walk through wherever I am. Your name can move mountains wherever I stand. And if ever I walk through the valley of death, I sing through the shadows my song of ascent. And whatever I walk through, wherever I am, your name can move mountains wherever I stand. And if ever I walk through the valley of death, I sing.
All right, so now we've got a decent mix coming through our main left-right, and it's time to mix our live stream. I'm gonna show you how I do that on the LV1 system. Like I said, that's just the left-right mix, and it does sound pretty good coming straight off the board in this case. And to be honest, a lot of you would probably be very happy with that mix as it stands. I'm a little extra picky and I want things to sound even better than that. But one of the reasons that sounds so good, if I'm being real, is because my room is right and my speakers are EQ'd pretty well. So the EQs and the compression that I do per channel in this system sound pretty good, both in an online scenario and in the room. Now, to be honest, there's also some secret sauce here. It's the LV1 mixing system. I love this soundboard. It sounds so good. It's so easy for a volunteer to get a good mix. So to be honest, if you like the way that that mix sounds, even before I go into all the details of how I mix my live stream, go over to churchfront.com, sign up for our premium program, and we can talk you through what it takes to upgrade your mixing solution to something like this so you can get something that sounds that good without even tweaking an online mix. That's just the left-right mix. I'm going to switch over now, so all you're hearing is the online mix, and that's what I'm monitoring too, and then I will go ahead and start building my online mix. So first, let me show you how the LV1 works as far as its matrices, because that's what I'm using for my online mix. I've got this matrix here, and if I open that up in the channel, what the LV1 does is it gives me the ability to send up to 12 channels. Those could be input channels, groups, aux mixes, even the left-right fader can be sent to a matrix. So I can send 12 things to each stereo matrix on this console. So I'm going to send a post-fader aux mix, and then I actually loaded my front of house room mics and stage mics right here. If I were to jump over here right now, I have my online mix aux send muted. If I were to jump over here and just show you what was recorded, this was what was recorded in the room last night. So if I push that up, you're going to hear just a little bit of the room. Now, a caveat here is that it would be better if I would have recorded this on a Sunday and then came back during the week to tweak this, because then I would have gotten the crowd, I would have gotten more people singing into those room mics to really feel out how this was going to sound. For the purposes of this video, this works just fine, but know that if you're going to do this, get a virtual soundcheck recording of your service, because it'll be more accurate, especially with those room mics. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into my mixer one, and I'm going to show you how all of these channels are routed. You'll notice on my monitor number 16 mix, which is just an aux send, it set all these channels are going to a post fader. You'll notice nothing's going to it on channels 1 through 16. You will notice that I do have 5 channels going to it on my second layer. These are channels that I don't want any group processing on, that I just want to go straight to that aux mix. So I've got some talk channels, I've got my Pro Presenter, I've got my Spotify. Where to click on this, you're going to see that sends on fader. That's the levels at which I want those going to that online mix. You'll notice those are very hot. That's because talk channels tend to need to be louder in your online mix than the music, because on an online mix, we need to bring that talking up and that music down so that there isn't as big a disparity between the talking and the music during your service. If none of my channels are being sent to that online mix, you're going to ask, well, how are they getting there? Well, let me go there. They're actually all being sent there via this groups layer. And if I open that up and turn on my online mix, you're gonna see drums, drum smash, band. You'll notice the vocals are down. I'll show you why that is in a minute. And then I've got this tracks send as well. Then all of these verbs, that's what all of these effects channels are being sent to my online mix at. They're being sent all around -5 or so. So if I just start turning all of that off, I won't worry about those channels that are on the second layer. Those are all talk channels. I don't have anything recorded on those channels right now. The way that I'm getting vocals both to my left-right house mix and to my online mix is a little bit different. It's a little convoluted, but this is how I figured out how to do this so that I could add some vocal tuning in my mix. So if I go in here to each one of these vocal pitch channels and I open up the channel window here, you're gonna see I've got waves tune on them. So I've got these vocal channels, these vocal aux mixes, both going to my left-right mains and to my online aux send. So if I turn those down to 0 as well, and then I'm gonna unmute this online mix, we shouldn't have anything coming through, because right now, nothing else is bust to that online mix. So the only thing, again, going to this online campus send, if I open this up, is my online mix aux and those front of house stereo mics and my stage stereo mics. I'm gonna leave those at 0 for now because I'm gonna build the mix without those, and then I'll push up a little bit of that room. So first thing we're gonna do here is start with the drums. Again, the drums. And we're gonna go push those up. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to turn up that online mix so that it's a little bit more maxed out for the recording. I'm just turning that up so you can kind of hear what that over-compressed drum smash sounds like. By itself, sounds awful. When you mix that drum smash in, you get just some of those transients back into the mix of the drums. So now in this instance, because my vocals are at the end of the chain and my bass is mixed into my band group, I'm just gonna push the band up. So that sounds pretty good without the vocals. Let's start pushing the vocals up and see where they land. Now again, the reason this works is because I know this mix right now sounds good in the house. So I want to create an online mix that sounds good in the online mix while the mix in the house sounds good, because those fader changes to my left-right mix are also going to affect that post-fader send for my online aux.
I sing through the shadows, my song of ascent, my song of ascent. And from the gravest of all valleys,
Now that sounds really good, but the last finishing touch here is we're gonna add those room mics back into that mix to add some of this room kind of sound. You want your online mix to sound as much as is possible without it sounding weird, like they're standing in the space where you are worshiping with you.
Neath your glory, does your kindness extend apart from where your feet rest on the sunrise to where you sweep the sinner's path? And oh, how fast would you come running if just a shadow lay through the night? Trace my steps through all my failures and walk me out the other side. For who could dare ascend that mountain, that valleyed hill called Calvary? But for
So there you have it. You've got a mix that sounds pretty good in the house and it sounds pretty good online. I know that there's other ways to mix your online live stream. I'm not saying this is the only way or this is the best way. This is the way that I have figured out how to do it, have it consistent, have it sound the same all the time. If you guys have a great way that you mix your live stream that you think works pretty well, leave the comment down below this video. And if you'd like to find out how Churchfront can help your ministry do better and reach more people, head over to churchfront.com and check out our premium membership and see how we can help you with our courses, with our designers, jumping on a call with you, figuring out if you need some more gear or if you just need some training. You can sign up for group coaching call classes once you're a premium member, which I actually run those. You can jump on a call with me and we can help you figure out how to make your online mix, your in-house mix, all of the things you do for church work the best for you, for your church to reach more people. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and we'll see you in the next video.